What is up, everybody? We are back with Teklo's workshop, and today we are doing a little bit something a little bit different. We're leaving Dio and Teklo Vossen's little daughter, or I don't know what she is in the lore, but we will be talking to Will about Max the Hype Nitro. So Will, give a little introduction about yourself. Who are you? And yeah.
Hi, my name is William Lee. I started getting to Fab about 8 months ago. It was a buddy of mine that got me transitioned from Fab into Magic, or Magic into Fab, actually. And I just started really liking how Max looked as a deck, and he's just like just build it, play how it goes, and it's a lot of losing at first. But as I like started playing more, started like figuring out his play patterns and like how he wants to like trade. And yeah.
So you mentioned that it was a lot of losing at first, and that's kind of everybody's journey with Flesh and Blood is a lot of losing games at the beginning. But you're one of my locals, and I've been to plenty of RTNs and PQs this season so far. And every single time I see you there, I always see you at the top tables, top eights, whatever. So what exactly have you been doing this season? Only been playing for 8 months so far. So how did your first RTN season go, and how is your PQ season going so far?
Okay. So first ITN season, I wasn't really expecting much. I wasn't expecting to top eight either of the ITNs that I went to, but the first ITN was at I forget the name of this. MEH. Was that MEH? Was I think first round was against Enigma. I actually really liked the Enigma Max matchup, just because I have if you look at the deck list, I have 8 poppers within the deck list. So it can pretty consistently pop their the big phantasmal attack, and yeah. But I was, the game plan is just to like boost efficiently, try to keep your hyper drivers pretty healthy to try to construct Nitro Mechanoid. And once I feel like you get Nitro Mechanoid online, it's very hard for you to lose the game from that, just because you gain so much value.
Yeah.
But that was my RTN season, and come to ProQuest, there was the Max Armor deck that got released just a couple days ago. So there was a lot of clamor about that if I was gonna like run any cards from that, or if I'm just gonna continue running the Construct Nitro Mech game plan. And after looking at the Max deck list from the Armory, I wasn't too happy with it. There was a lot of um, in my opinion, bad cards on the list. And like there's too many hoops that you have to jump to. Like Bank Breaker is
Mm.
like an interesting card, but you have to like you want to like boost it, like have the hyperdrivers around, but then like now you like kind of want them underneath, and then the value that Bank Breaker provides isn't nowhere near as much as what Construct Nitro Mech can do.
Mm.
Um, so in that vein, I decided to bring just the classic Nitro Mechanoid to the ProQuest, and it turned out very well for me.
Okay, so I honestly like, even though I've been a mech player, I've run an entire like mech YouTube channel. I honestly have no idea what this deck is. Like, obviously, I know you hop in the suit, but you were talking about like learning the play patterns of like the lines and being able to trade Max's way. What is it about Max that's different than say Dio or Teklo, and why would I choose to play Max over these other decks?
So going with Dio, right? Dio is like a very aggressive aggro
Mm.
mech where you want to like boost, hit like your boom grenades, try like
Hmm.
set up max V's and like processors, and then on the opposite end you got Teklo, right? Which is like super like a guardian style fatigue. He's gonna like block you out and then jump into his own suit eventually,
Okay.
um, and then win like super late game. I think Max is like kinda in between that, like, super aggro and super late game. He's, like right now, it's, like, kinda of mid-range game plan. Um, so, like, like, you wanna go first 'cause, like, starting first, you're able to, like, get a hyperdriver out, so you start with basically 2 vigors across 2 turns, um, and then you get to have a 5th card being your arsenal, um, and you're really just trying to play like efficient hands while trying to keep your hyperdriver around, right? So let's In a deck list, I run 7 recharge, 3 reds, 3 blues, and a single yellow. So then, like, like, obviously, I wouldn't try to block with the recharge. So, like, I'll try to, like, pitch something, recharge, keep the put the first hyperdriver up to 3, attack with something else, like, let's say, like, a 060. So 060 for 8, go again. It will make a resource on the back end from the hyperdriver. And then I'm going to end the turn with activating Maxx, keeping 2 hyperdrivers around, which is 2 hyperdrives around at 2 Steam counters, which is kind of the golden ticket of what you
Okay.
want to do. Because after that, you could like um you go like block out like way more aggressively if you have to try like find your Nitro Mechanoid, because the deck really wants to maximize Nitro Mechanoid's attack rate. So like that's why I play in the leg slot the Cogwarts base leg as
Yeah.
a additional action point. So, you can only really do that if you try to keep 2 hyperdrivers around that's, like, pretty healthy. Because then, like,
Okay.
you want to effectively, on the turn you make a mech, attack with a boost card, and then get the resource from your hyperdrivers so that you're not pitching to play Construct too much. Um
Okay.
yeah,
That
so you're
makes
trying to like attack
sense.
like 1 to 2 chains, and then if you have to, like you pitch a blue, which you're gonna pitch anyway, making a hyperdriver, and then jump into suit or activate your legs, and then swing six, swing six.
So like at what point would be a good game to like I guess an average game, a bad game, and like, your nut draw where you like hop in the like at what turn does hopping in the suit happen on average?
Right. If I go first, right, and that's my turn 0.
Okay.
So then your turn 1 goes back to my turn 1, then like turn 2, turn 2. I very good hand can allow me to hop into Nitro Mechanoid on turn 2.
Okay.
um on my turn 2, so effectively your turn 1, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, effectively your turn 1. Because like let's say I attack, so like my starting hand, let's say I get like a throttle, like a blue supercell, and then like just something else, right? So like I'll go like throttle, pitch a blue, swings for 6, opponent's gonna block out with their cards.
Yeah.
I pitch another card, make a hyperdriver, and then arsenal a supercell. And then next turn, depending on like if I draw more blues, I can like uh attack with whatever, activate Maxx, pitching a blue, make that hyperdriver, crank it, and activate supercell or play supercell for 2. So that would get my 2 hyperdrivers on board up to 3, and then
Okay.
make an additional hyperdriver at 2. So with that, I have enough hyperdrivers to make the mechanoid. Um, but I think on average, if I play an aggro matchup, I kind of want to make it between like turn 4, turn 5, ideally, and then obviously anything after like turn 6, turn 7 is kind of like a bad game plan for Mechanoid against like aggro matchups, because like I'm like effectively blocking, so as a Mechanoid mechnologist, you're kind of prone to fatigue, and Max is
Yeah.
still in that same vein. So if I'm blocking too much, I might end up, you know, not having enough cards left in deck to pull up Steam. But against like fatigue matchups, like Verdance, I think in the ProQuest when I played our Verdance player, I think I Mechanoid on turn 6 and end the game at like turn 8.
Okay. So it was well against like Verdance and like I'm sure the Earth heroes are different than playing against Syndra or Dio or Aurora,
Yeah, yeah,
where like
exactly.
you're kind of waiting, you're kind of sitting on your mechanoid for a little while,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna hop in later once they're kind of out of resources.
Yeah, against the aggro
Okay.
matchups, I really want to hop into my Mechanoid early, just because like the block value is like insane, which I don't need to block with cards in my hand. I can just like
Yeah.
play like a 3 chain with like the Mechanoid as an ender.
Okay. Yeah, that sound I mean, I've played against you. We played your first RT and we played against each other and I was just able to T-bone your mechanoid 3 times and just like kind
Yeah,
of get rid of it. And then the second time we played, I kind of tried to do the same thing, but you figured it out and you were able to play around me pretty well and you got me in that one. So, like what is it about the mechanoid that in the aggro matchups, like how do you go about having to block with it early and like losing it kind of early like that, losing your good block value early.
So like I kind of want to like depending on like what they attack, like I want to maximize it, right? So like the first
Yeah.
block that Mechanoid has is tempo 5. So
Hmm.
I'm not trying to block like some like 3 attack or like whatever. I'll probably just take it, or like I might throw a card to my hand if I can't convert it uh well, and wait for that like like 5 maybe 6 attack coming in. Like if I don't see that, and like there's like only like a 4 attack. I do like a 4 attack coming in. I might end up blocking it, just like save life. But yeah, I really want to block early and not use cards in my hand so that I can like maximize the damage on my turn. And like now I'm forcing my opponent to block, and now I have the tempo, and so I'm just pressing on that gas button and just swing as much as possible, stripping cards out of the hand, and then getting chip damage off of the Nitromechnoid's overpowered techs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I also see that you're running Max V in this list. How often are you playing Max V? Are you playing to this card like on purpose, or is it just kind of like in there as a plan B, just in case Mechanoid doesn't work? What's the deal with Max V in the list?
So so I had Max. So the Max V wasn't main board originally. It was I added to main board after the higher octane ban, just because I wasn't exactly sure what to play. But since I've added it to main board, I've been impressed with it. It's a pop, guaranteed pop against like Prism, Enigma, the hedges against that matchups. But against like the fatigue matchups, it's also like very good because I can just try to play towards my Max V. And um yeah, you think like Max actually has like some pretty sick lines where like I can play Max V like very efficiently. um, there was a at the RTN for level 7, I was playing against an Enigma player, and my hand was entirely red with a Max V Arsenal, and I was able to play the Max V thanks to like having like 4 or 5 hyperdrivers on board. So
Oh
it was
yeah.
like a zero go again, make 5 resource, attack was like a zipper hit, attack was like a throttle, whatever, and then attack was Max V. Um,
That's pretty sick. Yeah.
yeah, so but yeah,
Okay.
it's like the Toon Drive also helps like the Max V, right? Because I can like, you know, keep a if I have 2 hyperdrives on board with Toon Drive, another card, and like a blue pitch,
Yeah.
I can play Toon Drive, double boost, play the other boost card, and then Max V. So
So you can max V off just the 3 card hand with Twin Drive, which
yeah.
is pretty impressive. That sounds pretty sick. Let's see. So like whenever I'm like looking over this list right here, I see that there are a lot of like 3 ofs, except for this recharge and the max V. We have like one more recharge and one less max V. So I just want to like see what exactly like the card choices are here and how you got such a clean looking list. Like I love 3 ofs. I hate whenever my lists have like random 2 ofs or 1 ofs or whatever. So this is very clean looking, just like besides the one yellow and -1. So what's the deal with like playing this many recharges? Is this card like seriously that good? It doesn't look that great to me.
Yeah, the red one I feel like is like obviously the best one,
Yeah.
Like it gets significantly worse as you go down to like yellows and like to the blues. But like I said, like hyperdrivers, keeping your hyperdrivers around, keeping them healthy is very important for Max. And like there's like other ways you can do it, right? You got like your crankshaft, you like your Fast and Furious, some of the Deal Armory deck, and then I'm playing, blue Big Berthas, blue crankshafts, and then like Supercell. But I think having the
Okay.
recharge in there just adds like another layer of consistency. Just that if I don't, because like having the crankshaft fast spheres, the other Big Bertha, like I need to boost them in order to keep the drivers around like to be healthy. Which is a little bit of of a gamble. You might not always boost it; it's a little luck based. Having the recharge is like a guaranteed. Hey, I'm going to keep this hyperdrive around for another turn.
Okay.
Um, which is I think super important. Obviously the two block being a two block is not great, but the keeping the drivers around is invaluable. So I think the two block it's negligible from that aspect.
Okay. And then also Recharge has some great art. That's a really sick art.
Yes.
I've never looked at that card before. I like that one. And also Rev Up here. So Rev Up, we have this one. It can be played like just off of a blue with one resource floating. Basically, is what I'm assuming. I mean, you're running a
Uh,
lot of poppers here. Yeah.
yeah. So there's eight poppers. Three Zlaros, three rev ups, two max Vs. Um, it took the place of Data Link, which I wasn't super impressed in because it was just a 0-3 go again
Yeah.
on hit opt. And I was just finding myself that I was just running out of cards too fast, especially just being a three attack. My opponent can just easily block it with just like any random card because there's a lot of three blocks in the game now. Um, so just having like the cost reduction, just having hyperdrive bound, so 2 for 6, is above rate.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's just like it's just good enough. Um, and yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, so like having the rev up is basically just having another throttle for you, and the jump
yeah,
starts are just another zipper hit, which I'm very jealous
exactly.
of. I wish that I could be running, more 1 for 5s in my deck because the 1 for 5s are just so good.
Yeah, they're
Um,
they're really great.
and then we also have the Meganetic Shockwave here. Is this like this is main board? You're playing this into everybody? What matchups is this good into?
Um, so I'm not so the list I originally had was like a battle hardened list that won in like I think August of 2024, and he was playing two main board. So I had one more main board and the two max V after the high octane ban.
Okay.
Um, I honestly don't play too much unless I see like a really good angle to like try to you know take out my all of my opponent's equipments.
Hmm.
Say like if I have like say like a crack hand with like T-bone blue magnetic, and if I go first, like that's the entire armor like fridge,
Yeah.
just gone. But it's good into like ninjas, just because they really want to keep their armor around. It's good into like you don't see it too much anymore, but like Azalea, because like like you can just take care of like the tunic and like her headpiece, which she lose so much value over
Yeah.
the course of the game. Um,
Yeah.
but otherwise, I don't really play too much. I mean, its baseline like low point is a blue that pitch for three, it blocks for three. So
Yeah.
in that vein,
Yeah.
it's still good.
Blue block 3 and it attacks for 4 like in case you're in this like weird fatigue area where
Yeah.
it's like you have the blue throttles that attack for 4, you have the blue magnetics that attack for 4, you have these blue big berthas that attack for 4 as well. So it's just kind of like at the very end of the game, you have a lot of blues that still hit that break point.
Yeah, exactly.
And then moving into the sideboard here. So I want to go over the equipment first and talk about like so this Achilles and Visiertronic. I'm assuming is just AB3, just for
Yeah, just
yeah,
AB3.
just AB3. Yeah, you're never. Are you ever like popping the Achilles? I guess actually popping the Achilles is pretty good if you're in the suit. It can definitely like
No,
get you
because like it's
over.
like no, because like you can't actually pop the Achilles, right? Because if you pop the Achilles, you don't have all your equipments to hop into the Mechanoid.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm never popping Achilles if I'm trying to hop into Mechanoid.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's just there for like the AB1, or AB3 was the headpiece.
So, what do you do after you hop into the suit once you're like if you're playing against the wizard, or do you just not hop into the suit? Like you said you did versus Verdance. Um
Right.
like would you do this versus
Um,
Kano and Verdance?
so Verdance against a Verdance player, I actually didn't bring any AB. Yeah, which is weird. But it really depends on how the variants want to play, right? If like whether like if they're gonna try to combo me or if they can fatigue me, because that's a very good an actual game plan that they can actually try to shoot for.
Okay.
Um, and so I didn't know how he was gonna play, so I hedged against the fatigue game plan by bringing in 3 gigawatts, 3 Tekla pounders, and just keeping my basic army suite. Because like if I can get the additional action point off of the base legs, I'm swinging like off of like 4 or 5 chain attack. He has no cards left. He's just taking that 6 damage to a
Yeah.
face. Um, so I thought he was gonna try to fatigue me, so I was gonna play against that. And Yeah, because like if I still try to hop in a suit, which is really good against fatigue, I now am exposed to like any arcane damage because I don't have any arcane barrier anymore. So
Yeah,
bringing in like Achilles or the Vizitronics, in my opinion, is kind of like a bad game plan unless you want to move away from Mechanoid entirely. Um,
interesting. Okay.
so you're really just trying to like kill them before they can just kill you off of their arcane damage. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to just beat their face in with the Mechanoid.
Okay. And then are you just like you said that you're gonna try to go against fatigue? Are you just running like 65 cards, or looks like you would have like 73 if you just fat stacked it? Do you ever do that, or do you just like try to run a lean 60 the whole time to see your mechanoid as fast as possible?
No, it's like against like the fatigue potentially, right? Like Yara Verdance. Um if I'm like sure the opponent's playing like CYB new or like any other fatigue matchups like Florian, like usually I bring in 66.
Okay.
So the 3 gigawatts, the 3 Tekla pounders are my hedges against the fatigue. Um the other 3 cards, 6 cards being Spring Leak and Crankshaft aren't really there for the fatigue matchups.
Okay. And what are they there for then?
So the Spring League is actually for like potentially mirror matches, like with against Maxx, because Spring League says if it hits, remove all steam powers from item. Hyperdriver is an item, so I can just remove their Hyperdriver on board, which would set them back. Or it's against like a deal player, um, take off all steam powers from like a processor or like a Teklo core, so it kind
Or
of just
like null
forces
time
them.
zone? Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of forces them to block with cards that they might not others want to block. And then the 3 yellow crankshaft, it's in there for new specifically. I just swap the blue and yellow crankshaft, call it a day.
Okay. Why swap the blue and the yellow for new?
Just because like new has like a lot of like hate for like
Oh, for
blues, like she's
blue.
like
Okay.
yeah, she's just strip your blues or like like if she hits you, I think the one that like Sigil goes to your deck for like the same version of that card.
Yeah.
So like if she hits me, sees like a crankshaft, then she just takes all my blue crankshaft, which
Yeah.
is I'm like down on blues and I'm running 21, which is pretty healthy. But
Yeah.
against if they just strip like two 3 blues, like eventually I'm gonna get starved. So
Interesting. Okay. That is an interesting idea about that. And then so finally, like I want to know, how does Max, go into this new meta of no Zen, no Enigma? What are you thinking of, like, that what do you think it's going to come up, and how do you think that you're going to, craft your list to be able to go against this new meta that we're about to see?
yeah, it really depends on what decks is gonna be placed, right? Because I like the Enigma matchup.
Mm.
Um, I like the Zen matchup. Like it's still like a 50-50 matchup on who actually wins, but it's a playable matchup, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it really depends on what hero replaces those. Um, Aurora being already top of deck or top of the leaderboard, being like the best deck in the format, I'm not too excited for because there's just a lot of 0-4, like as you can see, I don't have any D-reacts just because like mechnologists can't really play those.
Yeah, that was about to be my question: is when Mech D React win?
Yeah, exactly. But because of that, like Aurora is a very tough matchup just because she can throw so
Yeah.
much damage and she has those breakpoints. It's a very difficult matchup to try to win. Um, but other common decks, right? Like Vincent, Florian, Prism. I think aside for Florian, I like my other matchups into that because the Prism matchup, I have 8 poppers. I'm a go again dot deck, so which
Yeah.
Illusionist does not like. And against the Vincent, I think I'm like actually favored in that matchup going into it. I
Interesting.
just bring in the Achilles
Yeah.
and try to like block out their like like ring chance and like block their attacks as much as possible so they don't get any ring chance on the back end and eventually they're gonna have a bad step turn and I'm just gonna use that as like a leverage um to pivot the game.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then, so what about like What are you thinking about like the Guardian heroes that might be coming up? I mean, I'm hearing a lot of whispers about Jarl and also Victor as well. How do you feel like your matchup into those are?
It really depends on how the opponent wants to play, right? So like,
Yeah.
I think Yarrow is especially really bad just because he's an ice hero. He
Okay.
can destroy my equipment, so like hopping into the Nitro Mechanoid is not ideal just because like he can potentially do it
Interesting.
before I can hop into suit, or now if I try to block the first attack, right, with like the Nitro Mechanoid, he can just have like come to eternity me
Yeah.
and just destroy my Mechanoid off the rip, and I just lose so much value. So in that game plan, I just try at best. I side out the Nitro Mechanoid, or I keep it in play 66. Um, take out the Galvanic Bender and play Adaptive Plating, and just try to play like super aggro. Um, and just try to kill him.
Okay, so you're that's like where the max V's come in. That's where I mean you're playing
Yeah,
a lot of like good reds, like these pulse wave harpoons, these max V's, these jump starts. Like jump starts really good. Seems really good at red as well. Like all of these cards just seem super good.
yeah.
Um,
I'm just really trying to like kill him before
okay,
like. But yeah, the Mechano game plan's not really a good
feasible,
good
yeah.
yeah feasible. But
What about
against
the brutes who may be starting? I mean, I don't know. We have Puffin coming, so we may and all these like items with gold. Gold is an item. I'm pretty
right.
sure. Yeah, gold's an item. So we might be seeing brutes coming alive with like their destroy item effects with their or just like maybe people playing mischievous meeps stuff like that. Do you think that if stuff like that comes out, do you think that Max is positioned well into that, even with the Nitro Mechanoid?
Obviously, if they like do like an arc smash or like
Yeah.
smashing performance, right? And that's the two blue cards that disrupt items.
Yeah.
Obviously those are very bad for Nitro Mechanoid because they are it gets rid of so much value from Nitro Mechanoid. But I think I'll still play the Nitro Mechanoid into them and try to like maximize my value before that happens, if that happens, because sometimes they might not see it. Um, I might just throw enough that like no, that it doesn't matter. Um, but that is something as a max player or like any mech player in general needs to like worry about was brute coming back into meta.
Yeah. And then do you see yourself playing any of the new armory deck max armory deck cards anytime soon? Um like I know that you don't really like this like the idea. You said it's pulling you in too many directions. But are there any cards in there that may be like viable to pick up?
I think it's worth it to just have the armory deck just like in your back pocket, right? Just because like eventually there's gonna be like another Magnologist set. I mean, with Puffin coming out, there might be something in like the expansion slots that like to like give that game plan a boost. But currently, I just don't see how any of the army cards will stack up to the value that Mech gives you. Um, Clampers is interesting. Construct Bangbreaker is interesting. Like I'm still like kind of testing things on like the side on like Talishar, but nothing's really coming to fruition. Like honestly, I might just like play Clamp Press with like a Banksy because like now I would just pip Banksy into like a 1 for 5. So a good break point, and if they just don't block the Banksy, right? Like I just continually put the Steam counter on like Clamp Press and just keep it around forever.
Yeah.
Um, that's an interesting avenue to take. Um, but yeah, I think that's really just it.
Okay. Interesting, interesting. So, do you think that I know that for me specifically, I know that there's a lot of stuff that will probably be good, or maybe not a lot, but there's definitely going to be something good for Dio in the new set with Puffin being all about Crank. Do you think that there's going to be anything that's like made for Puffin that will also be good in Max?
It's possible, right? Like so, like anything that has crank is now like I don't need to crank like my hyperdrivers, so now I
Hmm.
can just swing Banksy for free because it just needs to crank. So it's entirely possible they come out with like a very good like crank item, like a card, like an instant that cranks or like etc. Um, but yeah, I could definitely see something coming out for Puffin that is max viable.
Okay. And then finally, what are you excited about in this upcoming ProQuest season? Are you going to be playing any more? What gets your blood pumping whenever you're thinking about the upcoming 3 weeks?
I think I need to look at the schedule for upcoming ProQuest because I don't think I can get to play. I think I can only play like one, maybe two more ProQuests,
Mm,
just because of like my work schedule. But
yeah.
I'm excited to play if I can play. I really just like just want to rep Max and like show people like hey like Max isn't as bad as a deck people would think it is, because there's like obviously a lot of Max slander which I don't appreciate. Um, but so that's really what gets my blood boiling is like when people talks about how Max is bad and I'm just like I'm showing up to these RTNs these progress and I'm putting up results.
Yeah.
So that really gets me hype up. I'm just like proving people wrong.
Yeah. No, I mean, congratulations. Seriously, every single time I see you, you're always at the top tables. You're always, I mean, you've been to 3 events and you've top eighted all 3 of them. So, I mean, that's just consistency. That's like what we're looking for in Flesh and Blood. And I really appreciate you walking me through this deck and kind of showing me some of the lines because honestly, I had no idea what Max was trying to do before I played you that first time. I was like, oh, you're hopping in a suit. Cool. Oh, I'm just gonna T-bone it. Awesome.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like, yeah. So now that I kind of know a little bit more, I feel like, I actually like know what your game plans are. I know what it looks like whenever you're kind of like getting the nut draw, or if you're just like super low rolling. So I think that'll be interesting for next time we see each other, and also just learning about all the decks in Flesh and Blood because there's so many minute interactions that everybody has and I just want to learn all of them, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, congratulations on all of your top eights. I hope to see you again out there. So get out to those PQs, rep some
Yeah,
max.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll try my best.
Is there anything you want to plug? You got any like socials, anything like that?
No, not really. No plugs. I'm thinking about starting. There's like a little group of like Flesh and Blood players within like the local Colorado scenes. Um, just try to see if like they want to like just like get together, um, and like play without like any prizing, so they can like really talk about like the lines, like the optimal line. Um, just bunch of people enjoying Flesh and Blood together.
Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome. Let me know. Let me know, especially if you get anything like that started. I would be happy to join and be happy to do anything. Just kind of hang out. And I've always like wanted to play some games and like play both people open handed, so that like I don't know. I feel like I'm always scared of what a Jarl or what a new is doing, even though I
Yeah,
shouldn't actually be that scared. And like if I just see what their hands look like, then I could understand like, oh, this Bonds isn't that bad. Like,
yeah. It would be like a very like casual experience, but like you're still trying to play that like up to that competitive level, and like each player is gonna like walk through like their thoughts and like why they're choosing this line over like the other lines, and like it would be like super open, um, and just talk about like the correct decisions like for both players for like
mhm.
attacking and blocking.
Well, awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. And anybody else out there in your local scenes would recommend doing stuff like that. Just kind of getting some good testing with some good players, and then maybe just hanging out in the flesh and blood. But
Yep.
yeah, thank you so much, William. Hope to see you out there again. Peace out.
All right. See you.